In this episode, we have an election debrief for you. We invite you to join us in feeling angry and frustrated, and we talk about how we begin to move forward.
Let's talk about what intuition really is.
Let's look at all the places intuition and ego show up in your life.
Let's share honestly.
Let's do the research.
I'm Jamie Hayhurst.
I'm Heather Wood.
This is the Intuitive Girl's Guide.
Hey, Jay.
Hey.
We're here and we're mad.
We're furious. Mm-hmm.
If you are looking for some people to give you like the love and light response, you've come to the wrong place.
I mean, always.
True. But I'm seeing that, and we'll get to that. But this is a space for you to feel your feelings and where anger is encouraged.
Yeah, and I would also say that, like, as I was sort of mentally preparing for this, I was thinking that, like, this is an episode for our people, like for our listeners.
Yes.
This isn't an episode, like, if this is your first time hearing us.
Like, welcome.
Yeah, and like stay and listen. But like, I don't feel like we should be doing a lot of like backtracking and explaining. And like,
no.
I'm not going to sit here and like explain my anger.
No.
And like make excuses for it. I'm also not like, I didn't discuss saying this with you, but like, we're not going to come in and hold your hand on it. Like,
no.
Like we did with like the Gaza, Palestine, Israel episode.
Yeah, no.
Like, we're not holding your hands through it. Like,
no. We've already done that.
That's what I mean. Like, our listeners know that.
Yeah.
They know where we're coming from. They know why we say the things we say and why we say them in the way that we do. But like, now is not the time for that. Like, that ship sailed.
110%.
Right.
Yep.
So,
I mean, I have you can't really see it, and maybe you're just listening, but I have my Taylor Swift giving the finger. I mean, I don't think she's ever really done
that's
this.
AI. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm wearing that. I've been wearing angry t-shirts the last few days.
Same.
Because I don't really know what else to do, but we are here to hold space and to join you in a conversation where you're angry. And I think what's always worked about this podcast and what the feedback has always been about this podcast that people like is that they feel like we're all sitting together in a living room and we're all friends and we're all talking and we're all holding space and we're talking about the things that are relevant in our lives, or maybe you're learning something.
Yeah, no, so one of our listeners just sent us a meme that was like a picture of someone sitting up close next to like an advertisement of like a bunch of girls chatting, and like the person was sitting right next to it. And it was like me while I'm listening to my favorite podcast.
I love that.
Like, they're in the conversation.
Yes, and so if we stay true to that, then we need to create that environment through a podcast, for you right now.
Right, and people are asking us what the fuck is going on and what the fuck are we supposed to do? Like, people are DMing us. Like, like, you were the first person I thought of.
Yeah.
What do we do now?
Right, exactly. So here we are, and we're here to talk about that. And not that we have all the answers.
No, I mean, and listen, this might actually be like sort of boring for some of you because it's all the same shit we've been talking about for years.
But hopefully it's cathartic because you're all pissed and you're all thinking the same thoughts. That's my
welcome to the piss party.
I also just have to mention that I have a cold, so I know I sound silly. You're telling me I don't sound bad, but I can hear the nasal. I feel a little like Fran Drescher. But
no.
This was like a quick, we have to record this. Like,
yes.
We're not going to put our regularly scheduled program in.
No.
We're not going to just throw out an episode and be like, hey, catch us in a few weeks. We'll talk about the election when we've settled down. Absolutely not. That's not the right answer, in my opinion.
To be fired up.
Yeah. So here we are, snuffy nose and all, and angry, stress. We're here. I noticed you wore a blue shirt. Did you do that on purpose?
No, I just came right from work.
All right. So well, first of all, I don't know where to start, but where I feel drawn to start is the difference between when he won the first time. I'm going to say it. When Trump won the presidency the first time and when he won it this second time.
Right.
I bet you could find, if you looked, videos of me the first time going on and being like, all right, we have to stop this divisiveness. We have to come together.
You
Because
definitely did.
yeah, but that
Mhm.
was what we needed to do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? But that didn't work.
No.
And it didn't happen.
No.
So
He doesn't want that to happen. Why were we trying to do the work that he didn't want to do?
right. And it felt like when it happened the first time, like, what is this weird fluke? Like, how did this
Yeah.
mistake happen?
Right.
And this time it
Mhm.
feels like, oh, this is an intentional thing that a lot of people want.
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, so
No,
that
yeah.
the energy's different, the attitude's different, but I'm still seeing creators and celebrities
Mhm.
go onto their social medias being like, we have to stand together. We have to hold it. We have to find unity. And I'm sitting here going, that's the absolutely fucking wrong response.
Which from you is shocking.
I know.
From me, it's a given.
Listen, polarity is a bad idea.
Right.
What he did, what Trump did,
Right.
was create this huge divisiveness between Americans.
Yes.
That's what he has done.
Right.
And so when that was first happening,
Mhm.
a lot of it, not just me, were screaming like, this is how they
Don't
get
let 'em
us.
win. Right,
This
exactly.
is how they're going to get us, guys. Don't let this happen. Talk
Yes.
about the issues. Fight for the things you want. Don't join a club or a team or what turned out to be a cult.
Correct. Absolutely.
Okay. So, but it got to the point now.
Mhm.
I mean, it was a while ago. It's not like just
No.
right now.
No.
Where it was like, it's like too late. They already beat us at that. That already happened.
Correct. And you also you will never get me, and hopefully many of you listening, to come together and join together with someone over hate and prejudice.
Exactly.
And bias.
Exactly.
I won't do that.
No.
Like, I'm not going to hold hands and kumbaya with someone that wants to take my rights away, that wants to take away the rights of any other group of people.
Mhm.
I will never sit at a table with you.
100%.
And that's what they've clearly said. And like, please, and I'm sure you were probably going to bring this up, something that you and I have been talking about, and I'm already seeing it rearing its head, and it's literally only been like, what, 30 hours?
Yeah.
It's like, it's Wednesday afternoon.
Yeah. And
No, it's
Thursday.
Thursday afternoon. Wednesday morning was like the hell dawning, right?
that was the really bad morning. Yeah.
The second really bad morning, right?
Yeah.
And so now this is Thursday afternoon. I'm already seeing this incel pipeline rearing its head. And you and I have been talking about this for years.
Mm-hmm.
Been talking about incels and the incel pipeline to white supremacy, Andrew Tate,
Yep.
Joe Rogan,
Yep.
all this bullshit. It's already out. There are clips that are viral that have been seen by millions of people of men being like, your body's our body now.
Yeah.
That's
Your
our body.
my
We're in
choice.
charge now.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like,
Yeah.
so don't tell me that we're overreacting and that you're
Yes.
not trying to take my rights away.
Yes.
And that you're not trying to take away the rights of everybody else, because I'm already seeing it.
Yes. Like, this is the thing that I think we talked about this in an Obsessed segment,
Mhm.
or maybe it was a whole episode. I can't remember. I feel like
Mhm.
I've blacked out for life. Like,
Yep.
everything that's not
Right.
the fact that he's elected is blurry.
Yep.
But I think we talked about how when someone's angry,
Mhm.
like you sort of be like, well, you've got to rise above, or you got to be the better person, or whatever. And like, the expected response is for you to like reach out the olive branch or be
Right.
nice.
Right.
And like,
No.
it's no. Why when somebody is trying to oppress people, should we be like, oh, well, we'll come together. We'll suck it up and we'll come
Right.
together. Like, no.
And has that worked?
No.
Did Donald Trump magically go away because like the Democratic Party took a more like rational stance?
I mean, you know my feelings about that.
Yes, I do.
I don't think you need to be a human behavior expert like us
Mhm.
and an understanding of the patriarchy and understanding how cults work. I don't think you need to be experts in those things
Right.
to see that this group of people who are supporting Trump,
Yes.
we're not going to suddenly have them realize what's going on
Correct.
by giving them facts and reason. That's never
It's
how
never
you
worked.
get anyone out of a cult or into a new way of thinking or beat someone who's trying to oppress people. Like, that's never worked.
It's also never worked with that particular group.
No. And so it was like, again, I get it. I get in the beginning of the first time he won,
Right.
I get that we were like, all right, we got to come together and like sort of be like, let's try to show them what they're
Yes.
not seeing.
See how bad it is.
Yes,
right.
that is what you should do. But now don't come with that because it's too fucking late. Because if you're doing that,
Mhm.
and I know you agree with me, but I know some people are going to feel like pearl clutchy about this.
Okay.
But if you're not out there being angry,
Mhm.
if you're like, okay, but we got to come together, we got to reach out, you're siding with the oppressor.
100%.
Like, well,
Yes.
what about how, okay, I'm supposed to have empathy for that. What about
Right.
the empathy for all the people who are now, their rights are stripped?
Well, it's like one of our most recent episodes, which is victim blaming.
Yes, that was the one we talked about, the anger.
Like you're expecting
Yes.
us to like you're gaslighting us into
Yeah.
thinking that we're supposed to like be kinder than our oppressors.
Yeah.
Why? Like,
No.
and listen, that's the story of this country. I know that that's a hard pill to swallow, but like,
Right.
that's what this country's done. It's been built on this,
Right.
is like gaslighting its victims,
Yeah.
indigenous people, Black people,
Yep.
slaves, all of which were, genocided and enslaved. We've been telling them since our inception to just shut up and be thankful for what we're giving you.
Look at what you have. Look at
Right.
what
And that's
you
what
need.
and that's what you want all of us to do now.
Yeah.
It's the same story. It's just now white people are seeing it. Now white people are the victims of it.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Like, it's the same fucking story.
Yes, I 100% agree. I have a request I would like to float out, and I'm actually already starting to see this happen a little bit.
Okay.
So I think that there's like a little bit of a changing in the tide, which
Mhm.
is good. It sort of also reminds me of when we said like they burned women, not witches, as much as we love witches and identify
Right,
as witches,
right,
that we got to be
right.
careful.
Mhm.
It's that people are finally saying, oh, this is the patriarchy.
Yes.
So a lot of times people will say like, oh, but you got to be, people who are super religious, you have to respect their religion, or, oh, and you've got it, so you can't say anything. Because to me, it's like speaking out and respecting are two different things. I think like, what are you talking about?
Right.
Like, I'm not like murdering you because you're practicing your
No,
religion.
you're not going to
I'm
some concentration camp. for
Exactly.
it. Right.
Thank you. Yes. And so then they're like, oh, and then also in politics, and oh, also in the schools, and also and then they're sort of finally going like, oh, this is all one force.
Exactly.
This is the patriarchy, which you and I have been screaming
for years.
again.
Right.
I feel like I came out of the womb screaming about that.
Well,
But
on this podcast alone, since 2020, we've been saying that patriarchy is the monster. It's like the Hydra that all these heads
yeah,
come out of, and it
Yes.
looks like white supremacy, misogyny, transphobia. Like, it looks like all of these million things. It's
Yep.
the same monster.
yes, right. It's the arms of the same monster, and
Right.
I'm really happy to start to see people being like, oh no, we're fighting the patriarchy.
Correct.
You're just fighting one of its like soldiers.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And unfortunately, one of its soldiers is white women.
Again,
Yeah.
we've been saying this.
Yes.
I mean, I went on a rant on my Instagram. If you follow, if any of you,
Yes.
some of you do follow
I
me
enjoy
on my
your
own personal
Instagram
Instagram,
rants.
I
Yeah.
was like,
Yeah.
this is it. Like, you look at the numbers of what white women did, and like, we did the same thing in 2016.
We did.
We lost it both times. If we had just showed up for ourselves
Yeah.
and not for the white men in our lives, like
Yeah.
not for all of our daddy issues and our like patriarchy issues that we have that we're trying to resolve.
Yeah.
If we had just shown up for ourselves,
Yeah.
we wouldn't be here. We literally would. I know that's hard for a lot of you to hear. I don't know where you are in your journey. This might be hard for you to hear, but literally what you and I always say is that this is the work.
Yeah.
Like, this is the work, is that like a lot of the things we're going to be saying in this episode are going to force you, if you're willing,
Yeah.
are going to force you to like sort of peel back the layers and look at like what's at play here. Why is this so hard for me to understand? Why don't I understand what's happening in politics or this country? Why is Jamie making me so mad right now? It's because that's the work.
Well, I think what a lot of people do, how I would describe it, because it happens to me sometimes. It's not like you and I are like immune to it, where like someone says something or something comes across and it's like that bristling. Like that's how I would describe it. Like it bristles
Yeah,
against
you're like, whoa,
something.
right? My
like,
stomach gets like in a knot. Yeah.
Yes. The thing is, lean into that. Like instead of getting like really shame based, which you're gonna want to, that like you have some of those beliefs still.
Yeah.
Like I mean, they're ingrained in you. You were raised, you were conditioned,
you're programmed to
believe
feel that
those
way,
things.
so you'll shut up.
Yeah, if you could just lean in and go, oh, when I can, I'm gonna. And I don't mean like in a month. I mean
like in 20 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
Regroup.
Sometime in the same day.
Yes.
I'm going to look at that and I'm going to ask questions about it. I'm going to talk to a person who's safe to talk to about it. Hey, I'm having some resistance around this. Can we talk it out?
Right.
And look at it instead of going like, well, let me just throw away the concepts altogether, because that's what happens on the other side.
Well, that's how you get sucked into the cult, is because everything feels so hard and so scary to look at, that you just turn a blind eye to it. And then when you turn your head away from these problems, you're literally facing MAGA.
Yeah.
Like that's the opposite, right?
Exactly.
It's like looking at all this stuff, figuring out how you can help people, how you can help yourself. Like when you turn an eye from that, you're facing that cult that wants to pull you in, that wants you to have a blind eye, that doesn't want you paying attention, that wants you mad at everybody.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, every cult that I have ever studied all has the same quality. And I feel like you can see it really clearly now when you look at the MAGA stuff and you look at this cult. People who are very susceptible to being sucked into a cult and then once in really becoming brainwashed. What they all have in common is that they actually, due to some kind of trauma or whatever, don't want to be making the decisions. They don't want to be critically thinking.
Great point.
Okay.
That's a great point.
So when I think of a lot of the people who I see in the MAGA cult stuff, I can see people who politics clearly fell over their head. And listen, that's not even an insult on their intelligence. I think on purpose for a long time,
agreed,
politicians have done that.
Yes,
They've discounted the poor. They've discounted the uneducated and not tried to change that. And it's coming back and biting us now.
Right, because if you don't feel like you can talk about politics, you won't talk about politics. And so then you're more susceptible.
And so when you're in a state like that, when you're traumatized, when your country's gone through what our country has been going through, okay? And when you go, oh, I've got to actually like look at these white supremacist like conditioning that I have and start to unpack it. And that's really tough and scary. And it even brings up stuff like I might have to like not talk to a family member or cut somebody out of my life.
I mean, I know so many adults who vote MAGA because they're afraid of disappointing I was serious when I said daddy issues. Like, I'm not joking. Like,
right.
Because you don't want to disappoint your parents or your immediate family, that like, and you're too scared to look at the facts and look at what's actually happening. You just vote right alongside them.
Yes. And then you take people who are also in a difficult like place of fear when it comes to finances and survival.
Right.
And you go, I'll tell you, all you have to do is just go with what I say and I'll speak to you and I'll say it in a way that you understand. And you just believe everything that I say, whether it makes sense or not, or it contradicts something or not, doesn't matter. That's how you get people brainwashed.
Exactly.
That. And you can see the appeals to that. And, you know, I think for a long time, people were under the impression that Donald Trump was just like accidentally doing really well, because obviously, I mean, I'm pretty sure we can say now that he started this sort of as like a publicity stunt, and then he realized he could do something with it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like way back originally.
Yeah, way back.
Exactly.
Yes,
Exactly.
Right.
So they sort of just think like, oh,
yeah.
Like they stick to that storyline.
Yeah.
But it's like, no, it's a lot more cunning than that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You know, so you're not fighting against someone who's like, oh, I'm going to come in and shake things up and change the way everything is. You
tell it like it is.
Yeah, you're fighting against someone who has fascist beliefs.
literally fascist.
Yeah. So it's just incredible to me. And so, you know, kind of bringing it back to the white women, white women in America are facing like feet to the fire that for so many years we have let down women who are not white, women of color. We have not
letting ourselves down.
And we have not done the work. Like, I mean,
Correct.
white women could vote. We celebrate that day,
Right.
but Black women couldn't vote.
No.
Like, do you know what I mean? We don't teach it that way. We don't present it that way. And so then you have to go like, oh, I fucked up.
Right.
There's parts about me that need to, still to this day, no matter how much work, I need to look at and change. And there's that blindness that I have that I won't see it. So I got to do a lot of listening and learning and work. And I feel like those white women have been so susceptible to someone just saying like, don't do any of that. Just do everything I say.
Exactly. And I think what we've discussed it, I don't remember. We've discussed it a handful of times.
Discussed a lot of things.
But like, I do think we should go over like proximal white supremacy, which I know we've spoken about, but like for those who don't know and didn't see it on my Instagram, which I was ranting about yesterday, or if you saw it and you're like, what is that? I think white women need to understand. Yeah. And it doesn't just happen to white women, but that's what happens. You're going to see it when I explain it. Is that like...
And sorry to interrupt you, not just understand it like as a concept.
Right.
But like understand it so that you can actually explain it to other people and catch it when it's happening.
And see it when you're doing it.
Because those can be different.
Right. And you're going to do it. You're going to cozy up to white supremacy because it's safe and it's comfy and it's a cozy place to live. And like, so you got to catch yourself when you're there. Mm-hmm. I still have to catch myself in it. Yeah. This is not something that we have perfected.
No, we're not sitting on our
perfect anti-racism work. Like it's something that like, you will do
we're
forever.
Perfect at it. Exactly.
No. So,
well, that's why it's so hard.
Correct. So proximal white supremacy is when you, if we're speaking about white women, by way of our proximity to white men, you sort of absorb that privilege, right? Like we can say that like a cishet white man.
Yeah.
Is the most privileged person, apex predator in our society, right?
Yeah, right.
Like as far as like safety and access and privilege goes, it's a cishet white man. You get the least amount of issues.
Not only do you get the least amount of issues, but the world is designed for you.
Correct. It literally is built around like
even seatbelts were only tested on you.
Correct. Exactly. I mean, don't tell Andrew Tate he thinks that like white men are victims. But anyways, white women
are the next rung on the list.
On the list. But so what we do is that we cozy up to like our husbands, our white husbands, or our fathers. Yeah. Because it's safer there. Yeah. They can shelter us with their own heightened privilege.
And then you can benefit from it.
And then you benefit from it. Yeah. So like, you're a woman. Yeah, maybe you can't go get an abortion or you can't go get birth control or whatever is happening next because
depending on your financial bracket,
coming down the line. Yeah. More of that shit's coming down the line to you. So be aware. But that stuff you can rationalize. Yeah. Because you're in your nice house in the suburbs. You're driving that nice car. Like you have the buffer of that white supremacy and you have someone like basically telling you what to do. Like, why would you vote against what your husband is telling you to do? Yeah. Because you lose that access. Yeah. Right? Like, why would you start looking at the white supremacy that's in your life and that has been programmed into you? Mm-hmm. Because even if you start doing that work, you're going to have the thought of like, oh, well, what happens now? Exactly. Now that I don't have this, or am I going to walk away from this life? Am I going to, do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the whole castle crumbles.
Right. And like, and those might not be conscious thoughts. Like, I don't think that all the white women, like 60% of white women voted for Trump. Yeah. I don't think they all were in the voting booth thinking like, oh, fuck, I got to keep white supremacy next to me. Right. It's not a conscious thought. It's ingrained. It's baked into the way that you see your life and the way you live your life. Yeah. But like you have to learn to know what you have to learn what it is. You have to learn to see it in your life so that you stop doing it.
100%. And we need to keep calling it out. Right. So that it is a conscious thought.
Right. Because
it's so loud that people are saying that to you that you can't help but go, well, I have to think that that's what I'm doing.
Right. And you're not like, oh, you know, fuck this, I'm going to vote for Trump because like I'm so scared I'm going to lose my white supremacy privileges. Like it's more like, why do I feel so pulled? Like, why does this feel like such a hard decision for me?
Yeah.
Like I know that this isn't a good call.
Yeah.
But like, fuck it. And then you just do it. You know, it's more, it would look more like that.
Yeah.
But it's still wrong. And you're still voting against yourself and against everyone else in this country that's marginalized and is about to lose something.
Yes.
And that's a huge spectrum.
Don't you
We'll
think?
be right back after this short break. You know what goes great with podcast listening?
A great cup of coffee from a great coffee shop.
Yep, beans roasted in-house, amazing baristas. You know where I'm talking about.
Restoration Coffee. Can we go?
Yes, I need an Americano and maybe a panini too.
Ooh, I need blueberry maple latte and probably a resto bowl.
Ooh, yeah, check them out and visit restoration-coffee.com.
Don't you think too the mentality of like of being a good girl is, again, we've talked about that.
Yes.
Like people, I mean, you're trained, you're raised in this culture,
Right.
to be that. I mean, neither of us had parents that enforce that,
Right.
but the world does.
Yes.
Society does.
No, you absorb that even if it's not like actually taught to you. You absorb what's expected of women.
But what you don't realize is that like there's so much in you that's like, well, if I go against what my husband
Correct.
says or my father says, what does that mean about me? So you sort of
They'll be
think,
so disappointed in me. I
Yeah.
could never tell them.
and you just think, well, I'm supposed to be a
Right.
good, the world has conditioned me to be this. I
Yes.
mean, we are both very privileged that we are not married to men who were voting to take away our rights.
No,
I mean,
my husband's
I think
furious also.
you got to take a look at that if that's what's happening.
Agreed.
Mine is also furious. But like, so I don't want to sound like I know exactly what that feels like. That's not my situation.
Mhm.
But I do understand the sort of like good girl, just go with it
Right.
sort of mentality in different areas. So I can see how that's playing a part. But that's why we
Right.
have to keep screaming louder and wearing
Right.
t-shirts that are not good girl t-shirts. It sounds
Right.
little.
To
and
model it. Right.
wearing
exactly.
the blue bracelets that I see
Oh,
coming
yeah.
up, like the friendship bracelets. Like,
Yes.
because it's like you have to resist somehow, loudly and quietly and all the time.
Yes. But like, remember this summer when we saw all these white women who were like crashing Zoom? White women for Kamala.
Yep.
All this shit we saw about white women and how we were going to come together, and they were all,
Yeah.
of course, we then saw the spin-off of those, which was then like them having their own moments on like TikTok and Instagram and crying, telling their own stories about stuff. I won't.
As white women do.
Correct.
Uh-huh.
Correct.
Yeah.
But
I mean, that could be a whole episode, so we'll reel it
right,
in. But
exactly. But that was a pattern. We saw it.
oh yeah.
But like, where were you?
Yeah.
Where the fuck were you? Where were you?
You know,
You all came in like literally like millions of
Yeah.
women.
yeah.
It was supposed to be this whole like grassroots
yeah.
campaigning. We're going to come together. We're not going to fuck it up this time. Literally, that was the branding of it. Was like,
Yeah.
not like, we're not going to do it this time. Like, we're not going to let it happen like it did before. And it happened again. And I'm saying we because I'm a white woman. So
Same.
it's part of my responsibility to accept that.
Yep.
We let it happen again.
We didn't show up when it mattered.
Like, that's who I'm mad at. Like, let's be clear. Now I'm real mad. Let's be clear. Am I furious at Donald Trump?
Yes.
1,000%. Am I more mad at the people that voted for him? Yes, I
Yes.
am actually. I am mad at them. But I'm most mad in this like 36 hours post-election
Yep.
results. I am most mad at white people and white women.
Agreed. 100%.
Like, out of my fucking brain.
Yeah. Right. Because there is this sort
Of
of
my body language.
I know. I'm trying not to talk about it because you've done so many like hilarious body language things. I hope some of you watching on YouTube or clips are like know how to read body language, because you'd be having a field day if you're watching her. It's wonderful.
I'm mad.
I mean, but you're also like elevating what you're saying with your hands, which is perfect. And what we need to be doing.
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
The message here is don't sit there and look for the love and light or wait till you feel better. Be pissed, because anger, as we've
Right.
talked about many times,
Right.
is transformative.
Right.
So what are you going to do with it?
Correct. And if you want to use me as an example,
Yeah.
I'm not out here telling all the white women in my life to fuck themselves. And like, do you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I'm not making it a mission to be like, fuck you and fuck you.
Well, because what would that do other than
Right.
make you feel better?
So like, yeah, like you do have to manage your anger. You do have to take the anger that you feel and use it in a good way. So what I do is I have a podcast
Yeah, you do.
that I talk about things on. I mean, we're privileged enough to have this, like my voice sort of reaches further
Yes.
than most, right?
Right.
So I have access to that. But like I post on social media. I talk to people in my lives. I don't like, I get fired up like this
Yep.
so they can see that I'm mad, that they can see that this is something that you too should be upset about also.
Yes.
But I'm not scolding people.
No.
You know, I'm not shaming people.
No.
But like people need to see that we're upset.
Yeah. And then we need to do stuff about it.
Right.
Is the point too.
Correct.
Like using your voice. We have this platform, like we're doing this, but that's not where the buck stops.
No, and I see our listeners. I see some of you out there speaking up.
Yes.
And I've seen the changes, and I don't want to take all the credit for it, but I'm going to take some credit for it.
Take as much as you
that
want.
Our podcast has helped some women to sort of harness and use their voices. I've seen over the course of like following them on social media that now they speak out a little bit, and now they're really speaking out. And I can tell, I remember feeling those feelings of like, you know, the first time you post like a sort of a ranty post and you're like, oh, people are going to be pissed.
You mean a non-good girl post?
And you just hit send anyways and you let it ride. Like, I see you out there doing that. I see you. I appreciate it.
Yeah. And
it's
you know
noted.
what? For luckily now, because I would say even 2 or 3 years ago, this was not the case. There's more people who are having the response that you're having to a woman being angry, because I feel like I'm angry all the time, or there's like a hint of anger in everything I write or something, right? For a while it was, and I still get this, but people will be like, oh, you're so angry all the time, like
jealous.
Also like, well, because I'm paying attention.
Yeah.
Because I'm empathic. I care. So yes, I'm angry. And yes, what I choose to use my voice for, and what you choose to use your voice for here and on social media, is to express how we feel.
Right.
And so that's what we're doing.
Yes.
And so we're angry. But the beautiful thing is when you see one woman do that, you go, oh, maybe I can do it.
I can do it too. Exactly.
Yeah, it's that like, it's that permission. It's that authenticity. So, you know, you don't have to start a podcast. I mean, by all means, tag us in it so we can listen. But like, you can share something.
Right.
You can, when you hear something shitty near you, you can speak up like we do. Is it crazy and exhausting and annoying to do sometimes? Yeah. Is it hard? Yes. But you have to, once you start doing it, you'll be okay. Like, that's what we need to be doing right now.
This is stressful.
It's very stressful.
Like, this isn't like, don't think that like this is something that we just easily do. Like, if you listen to this podcast, you know all of the issues that I have. Like my good girl issues, my like abandonment issues. Yeah. And I've lost a lot of people in my life over this stuff. Yeah. And that's not a brag. That's a wound. Like,
oh yeah, that's not a brag. That's a wound. That's powerful.
But like, you still have to do it. If you actually want something to change, if you actually want it to be better, you have to do the work.
Yeah. And it's hard. Listen, like, I had some people reaching out when I just like posted who I voted for. And I was telling you that like there were all these people in my DMs being like, oh my God, you're so brave. Which, first of all, are you looking at anything else I'm doing? Because this doesn't feel brave at all. I feel like I do a lot of brave shit.
You didn't even say who you voted for. You just put like a sticker. Like,
well, first of all, I don't really feel like I need to say who I vote for.
But you weren't like, it wasn't even like you were saying like, everyone go out and vote for Kamala. Like,
no, I just said I voted and there was a Kamala sticker
on it. Like,
because I love the I voted sticker. It's a prize, and I will do so many things for a prize.
Same.
Okay. So I posted my sticker that I was really happy about. Okay. And the people being like, oh, that's brave. And I'm just thinking like, that shouldn't be brave. No. It's not brave. You speak up.
Yes.
Yeah. Can I say one thing that is a little bit positive? It's the only thing I've found that I've found like a little bit
That's
of
good of
warmth
you.
spreading through my heart
Yes.
before the ice melts it.
Yeah.
I have been out and about the last 2 days, just
Mhm.
life and work and things.
Yeah.
And the amount of women and a few men who have come up to me and said, how are you? Like, are
Oh,
you okay?
yeah.
How are you feeling?
Yeah.
That makes me have a little bit
Yes.
of hope. Like,
Correct.
first of all, it makes, because I sort of feel like everybody is on the other side and it's just like 5 or 6 of us trying to hold back the dam.
Right.
And so for that to happen
Mhm.
is helpful. So I just want to say, like, keep doing that to each other.
Yeah.
Keep saying like also if you speak up and people know what you stand for, it's easy. They know to ask you. They know how
Right.
you're feeling. Like they know to go like, how are you?
Yeah.
And every single woman I've asked that to has been like angry.
Yes.
And I'm like, yep.
But the thing is, like you say, is that beyond this like sort of period of grief or mourning or shock or whatever you feel like now.
Oh yeah, we're all cycling through the stages of grief.
Right. But like make sure that you actually act beyond this, because I feel like Americans in particular, because of, again, patriarchy, like the military industrial complex and capitalism, we are all so used to trauma. We're used to traumatic events.
Right.
And then because of capitalism, just moving through them and just literally working through them. Right.
Yep.
So like, I think it's easier now in this moment to be like, how are you doing? And like finding these feelings of solidarity and like kinship and community. But then we got to get back to work.
Right.
I got bills to pay.
How
like
long
I
is
can't
it gonna last?
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it's like finding a way while still keeping yourself safe and keeping your paycheck coming in, that like you have to take a step beyond that. Like the community that you love to feel right now.
Yeah.
You have to maintain it.
Maintain it. That's really in new ways. Like it doesn't just stay asking each other how you are. It doesn't.
Yes.
I just ordered the blue bracelets, which I can't say for some reason, but like, and that's cool and awesome. But like that can't be all you're doing.
No, and that can't become like the white lady thing. Like that's my concern. Is that like, oh, now white lady? It's like the little black square on Instagram, like after George Floyd was murdered.
Yes, and then they do nothing else.
And it's nothing else. You just post a black square and move on. Like,
If
you get the blue bracelet, cool. You have to do more than that. It can't be like the white lady tap out.
Have it be the catalyst or the reminder that you look at and go,
that you make
how am I?
Talk to you about it.
How am I standing up about it? Yes, exactly right. I just also want to say that if you are oscillating between a freeze response, which is being like really numb, and a really angry fight, let's all put our combat boots on and charge into the streets and scream, that's really normal.
Absolutely.
That is your nervous system.
It's just trying to regulate itself.
Yeah, that's fight or flight, and freeze is the numb part. So, or if you're like ready to move to like Finland or wherever, all of that is healthy and normal, and keep yourself safe, obviously. Talk to your therapist, obviously. But like allow yourself to go through that, and do not gaslight yourself into sucking it up.
No. And the one thing I would like to say,
just one thing?
Well, I mean,
one more thing.
One more thing is that I feel like you can make a joke about this.
But me make a joke? No.
I feel like we need to keep an eye on the men in our lives.
Oh, okay.
Because, especially the young men in our lives, because the young white male vote, like I said, went like explicitly to Donald Trump. And that is because of that white supremacy pipeline. We've talked about incels before, which is involuntary celibate, which is not a nice way to say it, but that's what, like, it's a category of, it's like a demographic of men that feel, I don't think they actually are, but they feel disenfranchised. Yeah. And that fear and the loneliness, like this, like the male loneliness epidemic, which is real. There's a male loneliness epidemic that's happening. And people like Andrew Tate and Joe Rogan and Donald Trump, all those people, they prey on that. Yeah. For people to get listens and to get likes and follows and to get them to give money and to buy bullshit merch and whatever it is. Yeah. They're being preyed upon. Yeah. They're being told that women are the enemy.
Well, right, because they are disenfranchised. They think that the oppressor is the wrong person.
Exactly. They think that women are their oppressor.
The patriarchy
Right.
has done this to them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's why we say the patriarchy hurts men. So we need to keep an eye. Like,
Yeah.
I have a teenage son, and
I have two of them.
I've been watching this
Yeah.
since he was in like, actually probably like early elementary school. Like, as soon as he was on his iPad, like,
Mhm.
I've been watching this. I've been having very frank discussions with him
Mhm.
about it. I've been showing him,
Mhm.
like, this is what happens. Like, this is the end of that pipeline that we talk about. You start off like on video games and you're feeling a little lonely, and, you know, that might lead you down the pipeline towards like being a Proud Boy marching down the street with a
right.
tiki torch. Or it might be you like abusing women online, or whatever it is.
Mhm.
But like, I will actually show him examples of people I see online. Like, this is the end of the pipeline. This is what I'm concerned about. And you know, and he's at the point where like, it's still jarring for him to hear things like what I'm showing him.
Right.
Obviously it's sort of age appropriate. I can gauge what's safe for him.
Yes.
You know what I mean? But like, we have to be talking to the young men in our lives, or actually even the boys in our lives.
Yep.
Because that's where these seeds are planted. They're planted really young, and boys and men are taught to hate women from a very, very early age. And if you think your kid or your brother or your nephew isn't, I bet he's hearing it online. Like, the algorithm is trained for all of that stuff to go to young boys, especially young white boys.
Subtle,
yes,
and it gets them.
Yep.
I mean, it's sort of like, like when people are like, "Well, I'm not going to teach my kids about sex or talk to them about sex," and then they're like shocked when they're like pregnant or something bad is happening.
Exactly,
because there's no education
because you've never addressed it. Exactly,
it's the same thing with this. We need to be talking about it, and as much as we need to continue to empower women, young women and girls, we need to also be cutting this off at the knees for the boys as well.
Right. And like, when you have a grown adult who's saying misogynistic, hateful, awful things, yes, you can say whatever you need to say to them. You can forbe them into oblivion. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
But like, when you're talking about little boys, that's where it starts, and you can head it off, and they won't end up there.
Exactly. They have a framework for what it is, and they know how to see it.
Right.
Yeah.
That's important.
It's very important. It's just one of the things that you can be doing.
Yeah, and it's just one of the arms of the patriarchy. Like, it doesn't just harm women.
I mean, clearly, I see some of these men who are big into Trump.
Yeah.
And I see wounded little boys.
Absolutely.
I mean,
absolutely.
And I'm not trying to make anyone feel bad for them or say, so like, go be nice. I'm not saying that, but like, you see that there.
Well, and it illustrates for me when I can see why someone's behaving like that.
Yeah.
It lets me understand why. And it also, like, it stops me actually from feeling too much empathy.
Yes.
Like, I can feel empathy for you. I can see that you have issues. I can see why you're doing this. I can see those daddy issues or those mommy issues or whatever the wound is, whatever the trauma is. I can suss that out in talking to you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
But like, once I know that it's that, I also know that like, no civil discussion is going to change your mind.
Yeah.
So then it just stops.
Well, and just to like bring it home with that idea, that's the whole thing. No civil discussion, no love and light, no like sending you good energy and like unity chants are fixing this. The opposite. It's like you're getting consequences for your bad behavior. You're getting called out. Like you have to answer to what you've done is where we are now. And that is the empathic intuitive response.
Right.
Because we have to be protecting people.
Well, that's the work that we always talk about, which is holding a boundary.
Yes.
You don't get me in your life anymore.
Nope. Or you get angry words, or you get change or get out.
Right. If you don't want me to have rights, if you don't hear what I'm saying to you about my rights being more important than gas prices, and that's my boundary.
I'm not listening to the economy argument anymore. It's bullshit. It's so stupid.
Well, that's what got me in some arguments yesterday on the Instagram.
Oh yeah, no.
I said that.
Don't
just say you hate people.
Yeah, no.
Just say
that's. It's so clear that that's not what happened. I don't believe that you believe that
Correct.
anymore.
And didn't Donald Trump teach you to like just tell it like it is?
Yeah.
So tell us you hate us.
Yeah.
Tell us you hate women. Tell us you hate gay people.
Right.
Tell us you hate black people.
Mm-hmm.
I would rather know that about you.
Yeah.
Than you bullshit me
about the
economy.
Yeah. Right.
Please.
Yeah.
Just tell us.
Listen, my husband and I have a coffee shop. I saw under which presidents the cost of shit went way up for.
Mm-hmm.
Don't try it. Nope. I know you know it too.
Of course you know it.
Shut up.
It's
Don't
just a
even
more acceptable thing to say in public. You can't say, I mean, you can more now than you used to be able to, unfortunately. But you can't say, I just don't like black people.
Yeah.
I just don't like women. I hate women.
I just don't want women to have rights.
Right.
It's like, oh, I'm not a feminist. Okay, so you're a misogynist.
Right.
Like, no more gently walking people through. And that's why we need to be saying, oh, so you side with the patriarchy.
Correct.
I mean, not to be the hugest dork in the world, but I am. And you're going to love this, but because I've been sending you Star Wars memes.
Oh, I know. That was a good one.
Oh, thank you. Like, this is what happens in Star Wars.
Yes.
Like, this is how the bad guys take over, is that, first of all, they let it happen because they do that thing that you're talking about that white women do where they're like, I'll be safer if I don't speak out.
Here, right.
Yeah, so I'll be next to them. And then slowly they realize that doesn't matter and it's too late. Mm-hmm. And all their rights are taken away and they're getting murdered too. Go watch that if you want. Like, what are you doing? Stop. No.
Well, that's the thing is that people always side with the good guys in a movie.
Right.
You know, you're always cheering for Katniss Everdeen.
Right.
You're not cheering for the Capitol.
Right. Exactly.
But in real life, you
are. Exactly.
You are. If you're voting for Donald Trump, you're cheering for the Capitol.
Exactly.
You're in District 12 cheering for the fucking Capitol.
Yeah.
That's what it is. And you always say, oh, I would never. I support the underdog. Yeah. I want the bad guy to lose. No, actually you don't.
You're not part of the resistance.
No.
You're not part of the team of heroes fighting against the bad guys. You are part of the bad guys.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, if I can just say one more thing, it's be angry.
Yes.
You don't need to throw eggs at people.
No,
although I mean, I wouldn't. I mean, I'd watch the video of you doing it. Wow. I'd probably like it.
Just speak up, do something, say something, make some
and don't
change.
Put up with it. Don't put up with it.
Stop it.
Stop putting up with it. Stop being like love and light, all that. You know what I mean? Like, send the love and light to the people who voted blue.
And to yourself. And take care of yourself. And part of taking care of yourself is by speaking up for yourself and protecting yourself and your family.
Yeah.
So do that.
And to all of the men who I know who have said to either me or to a woman that I know and love, hey, I just wanted to check in and see if you were okay. Keep doing that.
Yes.
That is...
But also speak up to your friends. Speak up to the young boys in your life. Like the work happens in those little small moments that you think are insignificant, but you have to stop the jokes. Stop the jokes against women and people of color. Speak to the young kids that are chronically online and you see them sliding down. Yeah. Speak up, say something, do something.
It makes more of a difference than you think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Call it out. Call it what it is. Yeah. Point at people and say patriarchy. And
patriarchy.
No, they should.
Yeah.
Yes, because they're hiding under the guise of the environment. I don't want gas prices to go up.
No.
You're siding with the patriarchy, which hurts women. It hurts people of color. It hurts anyone who's not a white man.
Yep.
And it even hurts the white men.
It does.
So, no.
If you're not a 1%er, if you're not a literal billionaire, the patriarchy hates you.
Yeah, and will hurt you.
And will devour you.
Yeah. All right. Well,
good talk. Good talk.
I mean, I wish that I could say something that would make everyone feel better, but honestly, I don't think we're supposed to feel better right now.
No.
I think we're supposed to feel better in the sense that you're not alone in how you feel.
No. Find community, find collective.
Yeah.
Work in those circles. Do some local community building and grow from there.
And if you find ways to do things and to get out there, share them with us, we'll share them with other, pass it on so we know how to do that.
Yep. And don't let people gaslight you.
No, never.
when people tell you that fascism isn't here, when people tell you it's not as bad as you think it is, when people tell you they're not going to overturn Roe v. Wade, don't believe them.
No.
They've already started.
Yeah.
They already took away Roe v. Wade. They're already taking other things away. Like,
yeah, it's not going to get better.
It's not. Like,
No.
like it's here.
Yeah.
We are here.
Yeah. Yes. And please educate yourself about what you're voting for.
Right.
Okay. I mean, I guess coffee, maybe something a little harder than coffee.
Ice cream.
Okay. Right.
Hey everyone, Heather and I have an ask for you. If you love this episode or if you love the IGG, can you do us a favor? We need you to go onto whatever platform you listen on and download, subscribe, like, love, whatever it's asking you to do. Can you go do those things for us on the platforms that you listen on? It would mean so much to us.
Thanks for listening to our episode. For a way to get in touch with us, please visit our website, intuitivegirlsguide.com. We love hearing your feedback on our episodes.